goodwill.
Like this.
Thank you. There's a Spanish saying, cuatro gatos, means 4 cats. There was 4 of us here today. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Vijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanacharya Munatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavrikacharya Satara Sada Shishimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premsika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shai Mukunda Radha Kundi Giri Gaurani Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasudaya Buddhalesham Madhibhagavan Swami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 60, and we'll be doing verses 13 and 14. Ashpasta Vartmanam Pumsam Aloka Patam Ayusham Alokam Patam Ayusham Astita Padavim Suburu Prayasiddhanti Yoshita Ashtapasta Vartma Ashpasta Vartmanam Pumsam Aspasta Vartmanam Pumsam Aloka Patam Ayusham Aloka Patam Ayusham Astita Padavim Subru Itam Padavim Subru Prayasiddhanti Yoshita Prayasiddhanti Yoshita Aspasta Vartmanam Pumsam Aloka Patam Ayusham Astita Padavim Subru Prayasiddhanti Yoshita. Ashtapasta Paranumsam Alokam Patam Ayusham Ashtita Padavim Subru Prayasiddhanti Yoshita. Pastam Vartmanam Pumsam. Alokam Patam Iyusham. Astita Padavimhumam. Prayasiddhanti Yoshita. Ashpasta Vartmanam Pumsam. Aloka Patam Ayusham. Astitam Padavim Subru. Prayasiddhanti Yoshita. Ashpasta Sayidam Humsam. Asnanam Nyaya Iyusham. Asnitam Bharavim Shubru. Prayasiddhanti Yoshita. Ashpasta, uncertain. Vartmanam, whose behavior. Pumsam, of men. Aloka, not acceptable to ordinary society. Patam, way. Iyusham, who take to. Ashtitaha, following. Padavim, the path. Subru, of you whose eyebrows are beautiful. Praya, usually. Siddhanti, suffer. Yoshitaha, women. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. O fine-browed lady, women usually destined to suffer. I'll start over again. O fine-browed lady, women are usually destined to suffer when they stay with men whose behavior is uncertain and who pursue a path not approved by society. Please repeat. O fine-browed lady, women are usually destined to suffer when they stay with men whose behavior is uncertain and who pursue a path not approved by society. So there isn't a purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, but I will read the tikas to this verse by the previous acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, pious women who follow the path of men like us, whose course of action is unclear, having questionable religious principles, who sometimes take others' wives and at other times follow the rules of Vedic conduct, and who do not follow even common social behavior, since I offended your brother even in your presence, must almost always suffer. If some do not suffer, it is to their credit. It sounds, this is something that happens today. Women get attached to bad men, and they suffer the consequences. And Krishna is saying here that I'm not even following common social behavior because I offended. He punished Rukmi right in front of Rukmini, and so he's giving these reasons why you shouldn't marry me. And Krishna's pushing here to try to get some response from his good wife, Rukmini. Jiva Goswami writes, and this is interesting how he writes this. After not receiving a reply, he seems to scold her. It is not proper that any. It is not here's what he's saying. It is not proper that any woman serve a man like me. Do I accept Scripture or not? For sometimes I am seen with others' wives, and sometimes I follow the Vedic Dharma. Do I follow the path of pravritti or nirvritti? Since sometimes I follow the path of sacrifice and sometimes criticize it to Muchakunda and others. My path is unclear. My path is not easy to understand. Normal people perform actions for the future and actions for the present, thinking of wives and children. That is not seen in me, alokapatam. Women will probably or generally be disappointed in me since I insulted brothers in front of women and left just before children, and left just born children unprotected. That was pradumna. What women would not become disappointed? That is their nature. I should not be served by such women. And Sanatana Goswami writes, I'm not suitable for marriage because I am so different from others. Women suffer at all times, in all ways, greatly from such men, like me, he's saying. Or those who take shelter of unsteady men only slightly without marrying them do not suffer. By taking shelter of me with attachment, you will suffer. Text number 14. Niskinchana vayam shashvan Nishkinchana jana priya tasmat prayena nahyadya mam bhajanti sumadhyame. Translation. We have no material possessions, and we are dear to those who similarly have nothing. Therefore, O slender one, the wealthy hardly ever worship me. Purport. Like the Lord, his devotees are uninterested in material sense gratification, being awakened to the superior pleasure of Krishna consciousness. Those who are intoxicated by material wealth cannot appreciate the supreme wealth of the kingdom of God. And the tikas by the Acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, very short. I am without any wealth in the sense that I have no attraction at all for material acquisition. Jiva Goswami writes, those with a little wealth do not worship me. In verse 20 he says, he is indifferent to wife and children. Thus, in this verse, he says he has nothing, niskinchana. Moreover, those who have nothing are attracted to me, or I am attracted to persons with nothing. I am always with nothing, and persons with nothing are always attracted to me. Therefore, the wealthy, except for the wealthy who are internally detached, do not worship me. Since you have wealth as a king's daughter, you should not serve me, since it is not possible for you to renounce. And Sanatana Goswami writes, since I have no wealth, I should not have married you. Or, since I am poor, I am dear to poor people, not wealthy kings. You may not have wealth, but you can become wealthy by making friends with people who have wealth. I am friendly with the poor, or the poor are friendly to me. This is constant in both cases. the wealthy do not worship me to increase their wealth by offering wealth. Thus, you should not worship me if you expect to increase your wealth by offering your wealth. Om Gyana Timarandasya Ganan Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitangena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminitanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nirvasesa Shunyavadi Praschacha Deshtarni Panchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna is continuing his agitating his queen Rukmini. He's actually having a lot of trouble doing so. She's not reacting like he would like. She's not getting angry and getting back at him. She's stunned. Now, of course, if we understand who Rukmini is in Vrindavan Leela, she's Chandravali, and Chandravali is very submissive to Krishna. It's described that Chandravali is like ghee, and Srimati Radharani is like hot sugar cane juice. So ghee is always it's very soothing and mellow, but it's pretty blah. And hot sugar cane juice is sweet, so sweet that you can't resist it, and so hot that you can't stand it. So Srimati Radharani, she is Satyabhama would not have acted like this, because she's Radharani and Krishna Leela. But Queen Rukmini is acting in a way which Krishna hadn't planned for. And as I said at the end of the class yesterday, how is it that God, who should know everything about the psychology of his wife, how is he acting like this? I mean, it seems like he's testing, like he isn't sure what's going to happen. Well, of course he must know, but of course he doesn't know. Because what's the fun of knowing everything? It's just boring. If you knew everything was going to happen ever, forever, and ever, and ever, and ever, after a while, it would just be boring. Like a gambler who can never lose. Actually, a gambler who can never lose, for that gambler, that's like hell. Because every time he would win, where would the thrill be? So Krishna wants a thrill. Krishna wants some fun. And so here's the fun here, as he's poking fun with his beautiful wife, Queen Rukmini. O fine-browed lady, women are usually destined to suffer when they stay with men whose behavior is uncertain and who pursue a path not approved by society. So this is, as I said, and when I made my comment during reading these tikas, this is a problem, I mean, in general, that women who get involved with men of questionable character, they suffer a lot. They walk out on their children, or they're cruel, or they don't maintain them nicely. And Krishna is saying these sorts of things. He says, well, look, I left my unborn child unprotected. He was, he vanished, I'm not acting like a normal person, planning for the future and taking care of my wife. That women will probably be disappointed in me because I insult their family in front of them. I mean, he's just going through a lot of reasons why he's just an unfit man. And it could be considered that that persons who are less, as Prabhupada would use the comment, less intelligent, would take Krishna to be like a deadbeat husband, or saying that he is. But we should understand that he is not like an ordinary person. He says, I'm not like an ordinary person, but he's not like an ordinary person in a transcendental way. Krishna's deviation from normal, which he's sort of saying to Rukmini here, I'm not as good as everybody else, is a deviation which is that he is different than everyone else. Prabhupada writes, or he speaks, I'm going to read some excerpts from classes from the Bhagavad Gita, which were given in London in 1973. So Prabhupada says, so Krishna's position is always transcendental. He is not any creation of this material world, but because he comes just like a human being and acts also just like human being, those who are less intelligent, avajananti, they think Krishna as an ordinary human being. Avajananti mam mudha. Mudha means asses, or less intelligent class of men. They cannot understand Krishna's position. Krishna's position is always transcendental. So this is a transcendental interaction between himself and Rukmini. This isn't some interaction between a materialistic man and a materialistic woman. Because we see that when these kind of actions happen between a materialistic man and a materialistic woman, there's big fights and sometimes divorce and things like that. But there can't ever be divorce or loss of love in the relationships between Krishna and his dearmost servants, because prem can't be broken. There can't be any reason why a devotee in a relationship with Krishna, whether it's in Vrindavan, which is the highest, or it is in Dwarka Mathura, which is also perfect, but still there's a little gap there because everybody realizes that actually he's God. But they don't relate with him as God. I mean, Rukmini's not relating with Krishna as God on a generally speaking, day-to-day basis. They're relating as husband and wife. But there is a little gap, unlike in Vrindavan when there can't be. Mother Yashoda cannot accept the fact that even though she sees the universe in the mouth of her little child, that something's weird here, but it's not him. He's just a kid. Maybe it's a ghost. Maybe something's happening. I don't know. If that happens in Mathura or Dwarka, there'll be a pause. Oh, but then they'll get back to their to their normal relationship, which is reciprocation of loving feelings and emotions based upon whatever rasa they're in. And so here, this is Madhurya, this is the conjugal love. They have a relationship which is very close. And Krishna is trying to test this relationship, but this is transcendental. It's not material. Prabhupada speaks again in the same class. We should know from the very beginning that Krishna is transcendental, and all his activities, they are also transcendental. Although Krishna appears just like an ordinary human being, he does not appear like an ordinary human being, because Krishna, and then he goes on to say different things he can do. He kills Putana when he's only a little baby. He can kill so many demons in Vrindavan. He can lift Govardhan Hill. He can float big planets. He can do anything he wants to do. And therefore, people will say, oh, these are stories that are mythology. And Prabhupada say, mythology? Prabhupada says, Vyasadeva, as if Vyasadeva wrote this Srimad Bhagavatam to put before these rascals some mythology, some imaginary things. Just see how they want to be cheated. So the understanding of mythology at best is that these are good. They are moral stories of invented in such a way to give people a direction to act properly. But in the case of Krishna, the activities of Krishna are completely factual. But they're factual on a platform which can't be understood by materialistic mind or materialistic consciousness. That's why Prabhupada is saying, Avajananti mam mudha. The mudhas, they can't understand because they're on a platform of material consciousness. So it's important to understand from these verses that that here Krishna is acting in a way that may appear to those who are not devotees to be like an ordinary kind of a rascal person, but actually is not the case at all. As Queen Kunti says in the teachings of Queen Kunti, and we've quoted these verses before, but they're very important verses to actually understand. She says in verse number 26 of Canto 1, Chapter 8, no, actually 30, text number 30, she says, "Of course it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force and unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering." These pastimes can't be understood as simply stories of an ordinary person. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are not only bewildering, but also apparently contradictory. In other words, they are all inconceivable to the limited thinking power of the human being. So these stories can't be understood by a limited thinking power. One has to come to a spiritual level to understand. Ye yatam mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So to the degree that we can actually surrender to Krishna and give up our own self-centered speculative tendencies. And even as devotees we can have this. Like in the early days when I was first a devotee. I mean, within less than a week perhaps, I think it was very early, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was speaking from the Krishna book, and he was talking about Krishna having 16,108 wives. Now, I had read Krishna book before, but just the way he said it was so definite that I must have made like some sort of face that's like, whoa, how is that possible? And then he looked at me and said, he's God. He can do anything he wants. He could marry 16 million wives if he wanted to. So don't doubt that he can marry 16,108 wives. And that goes to the next verse, which is an interesting verse, because in this verse, number 14, the word niskinchana is brought up twice. And niskinchana meaning we have no material possessions, and we are dear to those who are similarly have nothing. Therefore, O slender one, the wealthy hardly ever worship me. Bogaishvarya pashaktanam taya parita chetasam. Those who have material wealth and opulence and are bewildered by these things, the resolute determination to surrender to me does not take place. So Krishna is saying here, I have no possessions, and the wealthy, they can't worship me because they're bewildered by their wealth. And only persons with no possessions can actually understand me. Well, it sure looks like he has a lot of possessions. Krishna, he's living in great opulence. But that sort of having possession is not the same as a materialist having possessions, a karmi, a person bound by the laws of karma. Krishna, his wealth is all spiritual. And therefore, It can't be compared to the so-called wealth of a person bound by the material nature, And in the purport, I probably Hridayana Maharaj or Gopi Puranadana wrote this. His devotees are also uninterested in material sense gratification because they've tasted a superior pleasure in Krishna consciousness. Vishaya vinivartante niraharsha dehina raso varja sopyasya param drishva navartate. That, having given up the lower tastes, one gets a higher taste by engaging in Krishna consciousness. Now we engage in a sort of Krishna consciousness which is sadhana bhakti. And sadhana bhakti is a process by which we daily mold our consciousness according to rules and regulations given us by our Gurudev. And by doing this, we can have some glimpse into the really highest levels of Krishna consciousness, to the degree that we follow and to the degree that we're sincere. We should understand that personalities like Rukmini or others in relationship with Krishna in a Leela here, they have no taste for anything material. That, param drishva navartate, they have complete taste. It's like, we have no taste for eating what pigs eat. In fact, it's revolting. For those on the spiritual platform, material conditioned life is revolting. So actually, this brought me to a verse in the Bhagavatam, and this verse is spoken by Vritrasura when he's chastising Indra, because Indra is a materialist. Remember, it's a long story, but the plan was to have someone who could kill Indra, but because the mantras are chanted wrong, it was somebody who Indra was going to kill. And this demon actually is a devotee. More of a devotee. Now, Indra's a devotee too, but there's two different kinds of devotees, and Indra is a sakama devotee. I mean, I'll do this for this. A lot of people are like that. I'll pray for a business deal. But Vritrasura, he's a pure devotee, and he's basically, as Indra is trying to kill him, and he's having a lot of trouble and getting discouraged, he's just slamming Indra for being a materialist and stating what the platform of real Krishna consciousness is. And he says, persons who fully surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always think of his lotus feet are accepted and recognized by the Lord as his own personal assistants or servants. The Lord never bestows upon such servants the brilliant opulences of the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems of this material world. Krishna doesn't give persons who become purified devotees any opulences, whether they're from the upper, lower, or middle planetary systems. Why? Well, when one possesses material opulence in any of these three divisions of the universe, his possessions naturally increase his enmity, anxiety, mental agitation, pride, and belligerence. Things that we don't want or we can't have if we're going to become a pure devotee. If we are pure, you don't find pure devotees full of enmity, anxiety, mental agitation, pride, or belligerence. Thus, one goes through much endeavor to increase and maintain his possessions, and he suffers great unhappiness when he loses them. So, Krishna is niskinchana, he has nothing, but it means he has no material anything. And Rukmini he's speaking to Rukmini in a way in which he's saying, I have nothing. But he has everything. And actually everything is in him. And Rukmini, actually, she answers every one of these verses that he's speaking later on. And I'm going to go to text number 37 of this verse. And I'm going to not even read her answer, but she answers him, saying, countering his argument. And the point she's making, Prabhupada, Hridayananda Maharaj and the disciples of Prabhupada bring this up, where how Prabhupada says that we have to understand that Krishna is more than God. And Prabhupada writes in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the conception of God and the conception of the absolute truth are not on the same level. The Srimad Bhagavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. The conception of God indicates the controller, whereas the conception of the absolute truth indicates the summum bonum, or the ultimate source of all energies. God is defined to be highest in quality, highest in power, highest in degree, final, ultimate. But none of these definitions actually speak to us about who Krishna really is. It states here, Lord Krishna is not merely the supreme being. He is the absolute being. And that is exactly the point his wife is making when she refutes this argument that he's made, that he's niskinchana. I have nothing. Thus, the word niskinchana indicates not that Krishna possesses no opulence, but rather he possesses all opulence. In that sense, she accepts his definition of himself as niskinchana. Niskinchana means that I have no material opulence. Everything rests in me. Krishna, any material opulence is just simply a byproduct of Krishna. It's something that's extra. It's a leftover thing for the conditioned souls to try to enjoy outside of their relationship with Krishna. Krishna has nothing to do with material activities. And therefore, this bantering between himself and Rukmini is a transcendental relationship. Therefore, if we read these relationships, these pastimes, and try to understand these leelas or enter into these leelas, it purifies our materialistic consciousness. It'll take us away from our own materially based emotions and take us into the emotions of pure love of Krishna. Doesn't happen overnight, and it can't happen if we don't try to sincerely follow the process, because if we don't follow a process by which the material hankerings and desires are cooled off, they're so loud that the spiritual inclinations can never come out. It's like, Prabhupada uses the example, you've got a garden that's full of weeds, your plants aren't going to grow. You've got to clear those weeds out. So the process of Krishna consciousness is clearing the weeds out, and then when the weeds are cleared out, we pour in these nectar seeds of pure love, and that way they can grow. This is the process of Krishna. This is what Prabhupada gave us, and this is how fortunate we are to have this knowledge. And it's more than knowledge, it's transcendental knowledge, which means that it isn't just something we learn in the head, it's something we feel in the heart. So I'll stop there. If there are any questions or comments. So we owe everything to Prabhupada, because Prabhupada has given us everything, even though we knew nothing about what we were going to get when we came to Krishna consciousness. We thought we were going to get something, and Prabhupada said, no, you're getting something much better. But wait, there's more. Hare Krishna.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Nishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam Adipurusham
Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschachadisatarini Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadev Gaura Bhaktavrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadev Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktavrinda Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Bol! Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur, Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bo, 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 Nitya Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitya Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radha Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radha Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Jaya Vishnupad. Paramahamsa, Bhagavacharya, Satarya, Satashishi, Mata's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Gauda Vaishnava, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur, Shiva Siddhi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. ISKCON founder, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mayapur Dham Ki. Navadvip Dham Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Tulsi Devi Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Shishi Radha Golokananda Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Goloka.
Chaito Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Nitanam Swadanam. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amitas Smarane Nakala Etadrishi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribayatava Padala Hankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nainam Galadashu Daraya Varanam Gadgaduradaya Gira Bulakar Nishitam Vabhukada Tava Namagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishya Vapadamritam Vinastumam Adarjanam Marma Taukarotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lampato Mat Prananatatu Saeva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've